Hello orchid family! Welcome at my repotting of my newly acquired Bulbophyllum. As you can see, it's growing out of its pot and the roots are not that happy, so I need to repot it. I either drop pot it and put stuff around it or try to do it the normal way. I haven't figured that one out. I watched I think 3 videos and I read about 4 or 5 forums worth of information about this orchid, and it's a warm to intermediate grower. It likes to stay moist all year round. It doesn't have a dormancy. It flowers in December. That means that also in my winter time it needs to keep up, that I need to keep up with hydration. And as you can see, this is a pond basket. That's the only how you call these? I don't know the word in English. Anyway, that's the only thing I have that is shallow and has a lot of air, and if I hang this up, then the plant can engulf around it. I don't have the pretty wooden vanda baskets, which I would really like, but I don't. Anyway, so what I do is make holes in the corners and hang this up, and that's my water boiler. Anyway, what I'm going to do is hang this and line this with sphagnum, and I don't know if I already told you this. I'm gonna line it with sphagnum and then make a mixture with kiwi bark, but it's small, medium. I'm gonna mix that with some more sphagnum, charcoal and leca, because it's a really big pot and the roots are not all that healthy. And if I put it only in sphagnum with bark, it's gonna stay too wet too long, and I can't have a proper wet dry cycle because it's gonna, in my environment, it's gonna stay wet for 3 weeks. What I also can do, as you can see, I have empty spots. What I can do there is crock it up with something, with another pot, a tiny clay pot. Just put it in there upside down so it takes up the space, and that when this one grows a little bit bigger, I can take the pot out and put some extra media in. I have to figure out as I go, and as you can tell in my voice, I am a little bit insecure about what I'm going to do. I'm not really sure. I did make up my mind, however, so I'm going to do this right now. Yes, I can't take you along. I don't have that much battery, so I will show you the end result. Be right back. Bye. Here I am again. Hi. So I got lucky because I didn't want to cut anything off. When I tried to unbury this pseudobulb, I took it out of the pot, and this was in the middle. I just carefully split the sphagnum not to cause any root damage, and this one just came out. It was a little bit intertwined, but initially there are just 2 pieces, so I think this really old one, I can take it off, but because it needs to establish, what I'm going to do, I think, is going to hang this part over the edge of the basket and see if I can just wrap a little bit of sphagnum around it. I'm not even sure if those roots will ever work again, so maybe I won't do that and just let it hang there as backups of nutrients for the new growth, so that one can establish in the pot. This one is also kind of new, so those 2 I want to a little bit inwards or sideways. I have to see, because every bulb can have 2 growths and 2 inflorescences. So see, I did my homework. So I need to make sure I put them in the pot correctly. And the bigger piece is the one with, oh, where you go. There are 2 growths. As you can see, I peeled off all the sheets except for that one, because that's the newest growth. You can see it had nice green root tips, and those sheets are not dry yet, but they got rained on, and there was rainwater in between the sheets, and it started to rot a little bit, and I think that growth is going to be fine. On the other end, I have one I'm not so sure about, but I hope it will be fine. And even if it just gives me one growth, I'm happy just to keep it alive and maybe see its flower one day. So this is a nice branch of bulbs, and I'm going to try to place it in a manner that it can grow in the pot and out the pot. So I also going to do something very counterintuitive. I hate bugs. You all know I hate slugs and creepy crawlies and stuff like that. I am going to keep this sphagnum. Yes, I've been watching Olivia's channel and Beneficial Bacteria, and it doesn't all look that funky. Yes, it has moss growing on top, which I adore, by the way, just FYI. And yes, it's a little bit brownish, but I have seen worse. So if I just keep this little bit of old sphagnum, I'm gonna yank a little bit out and replace it with bark and charcoal. So I'm gonna loosen it up a little bit, and so that the air can come in. But I think that next year, let me just point at the orchid instead of my fingers. So next year, when I'm a little bit more experienced, when I have observed the growth pattern of the plant, then I will make up my mind if I'm going to repot or not. Because my plan is to let it completely take over the basket. And so I'm going to pull out a little bit of sphagnum and just replace it with charcoal and leca. And make sure there's sphagnum on the edges of the basket. And then on top, underneath the pseudobulbs, that when that gets manky, I can take it out and put some new ones under the roots if there are still roots. But it can grow into the charcoal and leca bark mix. But I'm gonna use a tiny bit of bark. I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I really did choose my name right. Thank you all guys for voting, by the way. Thank you all for your... What? Okay, help me out here. I'm not English. I lost the word. When everybody helps out, pitch in, there's a word for it. Effort. Yeah. Oh God, I'm such a dumb blonde sometimes. Okay, I wanted to thank you for all your effort and the fact that you're all... Oh crap, my freaking... I think my words broke. Yes, I'm just gonna stop filming for today. I'm tired, I don't feel well. Yeah, oh, by the way, I've spent my night till 2 o'clock getting videos of my phone onto my manky old laptop. That took forever to put stuff on, just so I can film again and I could post my eBay haul, because I filmed it in brackets and I couldn't copy paste it together because I couldn't save the project because there wasn't room for another 20 minutes video. So I needed to make space. I don't want to delete stuff even if it's on YouTube. I also want to just keep it on my laptop. I don't know, for prosperity. I have no clue. I'm a hoarder. I like to keep stuff. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I spent my night making sure I can video and post stuff for you. And I'm going to continue with the repot and show you the end result tomorrow because I'm tired. Love you all. Thank you all for watching and see you all tomorrow. Bye bye. Rose out. Okay, I'm a female. It's my prerogative to change my mind. What I basically got into half the tub is big chunky charcoal, big chunky fir bark, leca, and a tiny bit of kiwi bark. And now I'm gonna top that off with a mixture of kiwi bark with sphagnum, and I'm gonna place the orchid. I'm gonna wrap some sphagnum around the roots, place it in the basket, and then fill it up with a mixture of the kiwi bark and the sphagnum. I'm gonna use kiwi bark into this with the sphagnum because I want to give it a little bit more aeration. I'm not sure if it needs that. I don't know if it wants that, but it's going to get it, I think. Anyway, this is how it looks. I think it's quite... this is just crocking up with 50% inorganic media and a little bit of bark for the tannic acids and to keep the moisture going a little bit longer. And yeah, so that. Okay, be right back. See you guys later. Good morning, orchid family. We're in my junk room. I am not done yet, not by a long shot, but I did make room and I made a wider windowsill. I actually have to paint this one. It's about 5 centimeters wider now, so I'm sure the plants won't topple over. And I have my Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Buckleberry Ann repotted. And she was actually in 2 pieces, and I had 2 back bulbs that were completely buried. So I'm keeping them in the corner of the basket with some sphagnum for the roots, but no sphagnum around it and lots of air, so it won't rot let me see. I have to figure out which one is growing where. Maybe I can do it like this. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This was the small piece, and I placed it so that this one can grow sideways or out of the pot, and this one can grow over the other rhizome. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pseudobulbs on the big piece, and as you can see, there are quite long spaces between each pseudobulb. So what I tried to do was crock the bottom with big chunks of charcoal, chunky bark, and leca, and then I placed the orchids so that in the order that I liked for them to grow, and I put sphagnum underneath them. On the roots are quite sturdy actually, they're quite hard, and I was not afraid to break them. They were really easy to work with, so I wrapped them in sphagnum, put it, made sure there was room underneath and for the ones that were longer and deeper, and just made a natural slope in the way they grew, and filled everything with sphagnum underneath and between all the roots. And I know all the roots are being hydrated at the moment. What I don't like is the look of this basket. Like I said, this is my ugliest repot ever, and I wish I did it a little bit differently. So therefore, what I think I'm going to do is wait a few weeks until new growths are making new roots, and if I do that, then maybe I can take it out of here and divide it into separate pots so that it won't be overpotted. But my theory is, if I only wet the sphagnum and don't drench this, just use my spray bottle, make sure all the sphagnum is misted and wet and moist, not too wet, just moist, and then I don't have to wet the bark, and the water can leak down, but it's not that overpotted in moisture. If I don't wet the whole pot, I don't have to wait for the whole pot to dry out again. So that was in theory, but yeah, like I said, I have no experience, so I'll have to see how it works out. I had to remove the sheets because the rainwater got in between, and you can see the different colors on the bulbs. And here there's a new growth starting, and here's a new growth starting. And I thought, this is the newest one, and the sheets are not completely dried yet, so I'm going to leave that on there. Need to plump up a little bit more, but from what I can see, the plant is healthy enough, green enough. The leaves are looking really nice, and I'm very happy with it. I just don't like the look of the basket, but then again, maybe if I just hang it up, I'm not as bothered by it. But yeah, this is my Bulbophyllum Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry. What a name. Jeez. If you're gonna name something, just name it something simple, like the Nelly Eiler. That's easy. That I can remember. Sherry Baby, Nelly Eiler. Easy peasy. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support you have been giving me the past few days. I will stay just me, ramble on, and do whatever I like I always do.